Hello, my wonderful oils family. So today we are going to look at the brain and how our oils can support our brain health, and the different ways that our brain is affected, and how just different conditions, different struggles that we might have with our brain health, right? So first, let's look at how essential oils affect our brain. And I'm going to be getting all of my information from Dr. Danielle Daniel. So she is one of our leaders in doTERRA. She was actually one of the speakers at convention. I've shared a little bit about her presentation in some of the postings that I've done. I think it was last week or this week. Just really talking about the brain health. So what's super cool is that she is she's an LCSW and Doctor of Clinical Psychology. She researches the effects of the aromatic compounds and how they affect our brain, right? So essential oils, they support our brain function, right? They're neuroprotective. They can penetrate the bilipid cellular membrane. So there's a lot of geeky, sciencey stuff here, which is super awesome. But understanding that basically that there are oils that are able to surpass the blood-brain barrier, that are able to help with the dendritic growth and function. They're able to help inhibit virus and bacteria growth. There's so many different ways that the oils can help and support our brain. So we already know that the oils are extracts from our plants, right? That they are much more powerful than herbs. So, you might hear about different herbs that are super helpful and supportive for the brain, but when we're using it in the oil version with our doTERRA oils, then we're gonna be able to get that therapeutic support that we're really looking at. So we're gonna be looking at some pulse points and reflexology points that we're going to want to use specifically for our brain health. So there is the back of the neck, which is a point, all right, and then there's also on the neck, the pulse points on the neck, and then the big toe for reflexology on the big toes are your brain points. So the protocols I'm going to be talking about are going to be specifically putting the oils on the back of the neck, right there on that point, which is actually called the occipital point. I love big words. So occipital, and that's not really a big word, but anyways, right there. The whole point is right in the back of your neck, and then on the front of the neck, and then the bottoms of the toes, the big toe. All right, so we're going to address concerns of depression, anxiety, stress, addictions, head injury, memory and learning, impatient, agitation, attention and concentration. All right, but first, let's look at the fact that what are some of the things that can really affect our brain health, that can, actually have some of those things that we just talked about. It can stem from our gut health as well. And a lot of times when we have any autoimmunity issues going on, there is a gut health issue going on as well. So making sure that we are really supporting our garden with the Lifelong Vitality Pack, using our fence, and using the Terrazymes, which is the, not the probiotic, it's also the probiotic that we want to use, but the food enzyme, right? So what those are going to do with the Lifelong Vitality Pack, the Terrazymes, and the probiotic is it's going to help restore the gut health. It's going to make sure that things are moving and flowing the way they are, so that it can communicate to the brain better, right? Because remembering again, our gut is also another brain. It's part of our whole brain connection, right? So if our gut is not functioning really well, then our brain is going to be in all sorts of places and ways. And then when we're dealing with any type of autoimmunity, when we're dealing with any chronic illness or conditions, then it can lead to some of these, these other problems that can create that whole brain fog, right? So even at the very least, if you're just having memory and learning, we're going to learn how to be able to, what are the protocols to be able to support our brain health, to eliminate that brain fog. So let's look at depression first. So some of the symptoms that we can have with depression are sadness, moodiness, being down, irritable, angry, low energy, loss of interest, right? And what primary brain area that's being affected is our amygdala, the basal ganglia, the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, the serotonin, the neuropinephrine. I love these words, and dopamine. So the oils that are going to really help support these areas of the brain and with depression are going to be bergamot, chamomile, cilantro, citrus oils, clary sage, frankincense, geranium, ginger, jasmine, lavender, lemon, oregano, patchouli, rose, and rosemary. All right. Also, some things that can be helpful are the invigorating blend, the joyful blend, lemon myrtle, melissa, osmanthus, sandalwood, tangerine, and our omegas. Okay, so the suggested protocol for depression is for adults, taking 1 to 2 drops per application. Oils are in order of typically most effective. All right, so the ones that are most effective for depression are going to be frankincense, bergamot, lavender, lemon, citrus oils, and then a DIY blend. All right, so which I'm gonna tell you about what this particular blend is. So let's say you're wanting to use frankincense, then you can use it aromatically, topically, internally. You can diffuse it, apply it to the point on the base of your skull. Take 1 drop sublingually 1 to 2 times a day. So let's say then you want to layer it with bergamot. You can take that again, also aromatically, diffusing it, applying it to the pulse points on the back of the neck, the front of the neck, the wrists, the bottoms of the feet, on the toes, the big toes. And we can then layer that with lavender, again, the back pulse point, the front pulse points, the wrist pulse points, and then the big toes. Layer that with lemon, back of the neck, front of the neck, pulse points, big toe. You can also use that internally first thing in the morning, 3 to 5 drops in a glass of water 3 to 5 times a day, to be able to just help really, again, restoring the gut health so that it can then affect and support the brain health. Then our citrus oils, we can diffuse them and then do another layer of the back point, the front point, wrists, and big toes. Now, the do-it-yourself blend is combining 2 drops of rosemary, 5 drops of frankincense, 5 drops of clary sage, 5 drops of patchouli, 10 drops of lavender, 15 drops of bergamot, 15 drops of orange, 15 drops of fractionated coconut oil, and put that all into a roller bottle and apply it to the back of the neck, front of the neck, pulse points, and then big toe. So then that allows you to be able to have, all those oils plus some other extra oils together as a roller bottle, as a protocol, to be able to really support with depression. So then let's take a look at anxiety. Got an ice cube. I'm gonna chew my ice cube. And they're really bad for my teeth. So some of the symptoms for anxiety are we can be nervous, panic, fearful, stressed, have tension, right? Feel really tense and restless. So the primary brain areas and systems that are affected with anxiety is your amygdala, increased neurodendritic activity, increased glutamate, increased cortisol, and low GABA. Now, keeping in mind, remember, our new active oil is like super powerful and amazing for all this stuff, and she talked about that a lot. But going to our singles and our blends that we had pre-convention, We're going to look at oils that are supportive for anxiety are going to be basil, bergamot, chamomile, cilantro, citrus oils. So the citrus oils are really supportive for the glutamate and GABA activity of the cortisol effects. Clary sage, frankincense, lavender, lemon, marjoram, melissa, sandalwood, and rosemary. So again, going from most effective to remembering how, each oil is supportive. When we talk about some of the oils first, then they have had the greatest amount of results, but then there are other oils that need to be layered with those oils, or some that some people have had better responses to. So again, layering lavender with a citrus oil, then a lemon, melissa, frankincense, rosemary, clary sage, layering those again on the back of the neck, front of the neck, pulse points, big toe. Those can all really be supportive. So like lavender is going to really help with anxious moods and in the evenings. Citrus oils are going to be really great for uplifting. Melissa is definitely going to bring some higher vibration, higher energy into our system. Frankincense is going to be more grounding. Rosemary is going to stimulate brain activity and support just that connectivity. And so those are really important to be able to think about. Do-it-yourself blend could be combining equal parts of lavender, clary sage, sandalwood, and orange with fractionated coconut oil. That's for when you really have that chattery mind, so for mind racing, and apply it to the back point, the front point, wrists, and big toe. Also, the calming blend can be really supportive, and the grounding blend can be really supportive. Then stress. So some of the symptoms that we might have from stress is overwhelmed, irritable, inability to concentrate, sleep disturbances, things like that, right? So the primary brain areas and systems that are affected there is going to be your limbic system, your hypothalamus system, changes in our structures, high levels of cortisoids, and this all puts us at a risk for depression, right? So what we want to do is to be able to support our stress responses in our system with, again, from greatest effect to lowering is lavender would be first choice, then frankincense, lemon, ylang ylang, citrus oils, clary sage, and being able to either use one or two or multiple, or use all of them in a layering system of either going on the back of the neck, front of the neck, pulse points, and big toe, and doing this 2 times a day, in the morning and the afternoon or evening. A do-it-yourself blend for stress could be combining 5 drops of clary sage, 10 drops of lavender, 10 drops of ylang ylang, 10 drops of lemon, 10 drops of orange, 10 drops of fractionated coconut oil, and put it all in a roller bottle. And then you have a bottle already put together for stress to be able to put on the back of the neck, the front of the neck, pulse points, and big toe. So then let's look at addictions. So the different types of addictions that we have are alcohol, nicotine, drug, gambling, overeating, pornography, shopping, all those different things, right? So our primary brain areas that are affected with addictions are the frontal lobe, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, serotonin, our GABA responses, and our glutamate. So the oils that are going to be really super supportive with addictions are going to be black pepper, citrus oils, the GI Cleanse formula, which is the GX Assist, the Invigorating Blend, clary sage, and patchouli. So again, black pepper has the most effectiveness. So you want to diffuse that regularly, especially for smoking addictions. Citrus oil is really great, like your orange and grapefruit. During withdrawals, we can apply that again to the points or to the brain points on the head, as well as on the bottom of the toes, the big toes, taking 3 to 5 drops of citrus also in our water 3 to 5 times a day. Then the GX Assist, the GI Cleanse formula, taking 1 capsule with meals 1 to 3 times a day for 10 days max. It's going to help cleanse our system to be able to just kind of eradicate some of those cravings that might be taking place for the addictions. And remember, just because it's not food related or alcohol related or drug or smoking, the other things, gambling, pornography, shopping, all that stuff, it still is a change in the brain, and we want to be able to help cleanse that brain. So also clary sage, applying it to all the different points for the brain and the patchouli. So we can layer, again, black pepper, a citrus oil, the invigorating blend, clary sage, and patchouli, create that layering for our system. Or you can, whichever the ones that resonate with you the most, using those. Now, when we're addressing head injuries, some of the symptoms are loss of consciousness, head pain, throbbing, shift in mood, personality, damage to the tissues. So the primary brain areas that are affected with head injury are your neuronal communication, there can be cell death, and there can be intracranial hemorrhaging that takes place. So the oils that are going to be super supportive for head injury are going to be your arbor vitae, basil, frankincense, helichrysum, and rose. We can also try the anti-aging blend, which is immortelle because it has frankincense, sandalwood, lavender, myrrh, helichrysum, and rose all in it. And then of course myrrh itself by itself. So some suggested protocols are, again, helichrysum. This is for bleeding and inflammation. We can apply a drop to the injury site and to the brain points on the bottom of our feet. Then frankincense for the inflammation, cell protection, and pain. We can apply a drop to, again, the injury site and to the brain points on the bottom of the feet. And then taking also a drop of it sublingually 1 to 2 times a day. Then arbor vitae, that's for cell protection. We want to apply a drop of it to the injury site and to the brain points on the bottoms of our feet. And then the anti-aging blend for the skin and tissue repair, applying a drop to the injury site. Then memory and learning. Some of the symptoms can be forgetfulness, difficulty remembering details, speech memory challenges, difficulty remembering instructions, things like that. So the primary brain areas that are affected are the acetylcholine, the dentate gyrus, and the hippocampus. So those are some really interesting brain areas. Gotta say, all those are really super fast, right? So this is addressing our memory and learning. And that's the most important thing to know, right? And so the oils that are going to support our memory and learning is basil, cilantro, clary sage, clove, dill, frankincense, lemon, melissa, peppermint, rose, and rosemary. We can also try oils like cedarwood, the focus blend, which is in tune because it has amyris, frankincense, lime, patchouli, Roman chamomile, sandalwood, ylang ylang, and then the grounding blend, which is balance, lemongrass, and then our omega essentials also. Those are all really super helpful for memory and learning. So here's a suggested protocol. Again, taking rosemary, diffusing it, applying it to the brain points on not only the back of the neck, the front of the neck if you want to, and the pulse points on the big toe. Layering it or separately, frankincense, diffusing it, applying it to the back point, and taking a drop sublingually 1 to 2 times a day. I don't know if you're noticing a trend that frankincense is super supportive for the brain health, right? We're seeing that lemon, that these citruses are definitely super supportive for brain health. So then, again, continuing on with the protocol for memory and learning, we've done rosemary, frankincense, clary sage. We can diffuse it, apply it to the back point, and taking, and also put it into the bottom of the feet at the brain points on the big toes. Peppermint can help with diffusing, put it on the back of the neck, and on the brain points on the bottom of our big toes. Clove, again, diffusing it, put it in the back of the neck, bottom of the feet. Focus blend in tune, applying it on the back point, the pulse points on the neck, and then the brain points on the big toe. Taking our omegas, they are a natural source that then is able to get directed for our brain health internally. And then there's a do-it-yourself blend where you combine 10 drops of clary sage, 20 drops of clove, 20 drops of frankincense, 10 drops of rosemary, 10 drops of a fractionated coconut oil. You can diffuse that's in a roller blend, right? So you can either diffuse all those without the fractionated coconut oil, or apply it to the back point, the pulse points, the wrists, and then the bottom of the big toe. So then we're going to look at hyper, impatient, agitated, things like that. So some of the symptoms are going to be hyperactive, right? Feeling agitated, short-tempered, impatient, unable to sit still, outbursts, interruptive, speaks out of turn, all those things. Our primary brain and system affected is, again, the frontal lobe, the right parietal lobe, the dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and GABA. So the essential oils that are super supportive for all of this agitation, impatience, hyperactivity are going to be bergamot, cedar, cedarwood, chamomile, clary sage, cilantro, lavender, marjoram, melissa, patchouli, rose, rosemary, sandalwood, vetiver, and ylang ylang. So the suggested protocol with this is, again, 1 to 2 drops of ylang ylang applied to all the points, lavender applied to all the points, cilantro applied to all the points. You can also use cilantro internally with your food, chamomile applied to all the points, or you can do a do-it-yourself type of blend where you're combining equal parts of lavender, ylang ylang, cedarwood, chamomile, vetiver, and bergamot. Without fractionated coconut oil, you can do those to diffuse, or you can make a roller bottle, top it off with fractionated coconut oil, and apply it to all the points several times throughout the day. Also, the calming blend can be super supportive for this, and the grounding blend. So again, this is for hyperactivity, impatience, agitation. Then finally, attention and concentration. So some of our symptoms can be just having a difficulty focusing, inability to concentrate, easily distracted, difficulty listening, all those things. So some of our primary brain areas and the systems that are affected are the dopamine, norepinephrine. This word, I'm going to put it down in the comments for you guys so that you can see this word. And one of you will be able to say it out loud much better than me. The right parietal lobe and the frontal lobe. It's probably just because it's later in the afternoon and, my tongue is feeling just super thick. Not talking as well. So the oils that are really supportive for our attention and concentration, especially if we're having a difficulty listening, right? How many of you just go into swish mode? I go into swish mode sometimes. So the oils that are really helpful for that are bergamot, chamomile, clary sage, jasmine, juniper berry, lavender, peppermint, rosemary, sandalwood, and ylang ylang. You can also try basil, the in tune blend, the invigorating blend, and lemon. So a suggested protocol is 1 to 2 drops of applying ylang ylang to all the spots. And again, all these ones in the protocol, you can either do just one of them or a couple of them, or layer them like I'm talking about, because it creates a synergistic type of layering and support, because each of them are supporting different aspects, right, of our brain and the connectivity. So the suggested protocol for attention and concentration is ylang ylang, all the pulse points, peppermint, all the pulse points, rosemary, all the pulse points, clary sage, all the pulse points, lavender, pulse points, jasmine, pulse points, chamomile, pulse points. You can also use chamomile internally, put it in some warm water as a tea to be able to just create that calm internally. And then if you want to do a blend using the focus blend, the in tune blend. So those are all the oils that help support our brain and understanding how our brain functions and supports us, and how we can be able to give it a little bit more support to be able to penetrate that bilipid cellular membrane, to be able to surpass that blood-brain barrier, to be able to help inhibit viruses and bacteria that might be growing that are causing some of these issues for our brain health, and to be able to support our dendritic growth and function. All right, so these are all amazing protocols. And if you think about each and every one of these issues, whether it's depression, anxiety, stress, addictions, head injury, memory and learning, hyperactivity, impatience, agitation, attention, concentration, these all have a form or a variation of brain fog, right? And so by figuring out which protocol is the one that your body is needing. Let's say your brain fog is just really and truly, it's memory and learning issues because of some autoimmunity stuff, some gut stuff going on. And so by doing the memory and learning protocol, it is going to help you work through that brain fog as you get your gut super clean and super, cleansed, to be able to get to what bacteria might be going on in your system that is causing some of the brain fog issues. So that is our wonderful Thriving Thursday essential oils and the brain. Let me know if there's anything I can do support you guys with. And you guys have a beautiful and blessed day. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. God bless.